All right, folks, welcome back. It's time to gather around for our weekly check-in on everything happening here in Antigo. That's Antigo, just in case you're new here. We've gone through the police and sheriff reports, and let me tell you, there are some stories to share. Let's find out what our town's been up to.
So go ahead, grab your coffee, make sure it's a big mug, because the tea this week is piping hot, and we are going to spill all of it. We've got everything from the everyday oopsies to the truly bizarre. You ready? Let's get into it.
First up, let's talk about this week's town tea, the everyday adventures. You know, we're kicking things off with all those little moments, the classic hiccups that just make you smile and say, yep, that sounds about right for around here.
So yeah, it was one of those weeks. We had a whole series of people locking their keys in their cars, you know how it goes, at Fleet Farm, over at Asperis, on Fred Street, and of course the usual handful of accidental 911 butt dials. A lost phone was thankfully recovered near the roller rink, and that suspicious man on 10th Avenue, oh, he was just doing some pipe work. But you know, the real endurance award this week has to go to Rosalia Gardens, who tested their fire alarm for 6 solid hours. Can you even imagine?
But my absolute favorite, the real gem of the week, comes from the Asperis parking lot. I mean, you just have to respect the audacity here. I guess some emergencies are so dire they require double the parking space. We've all been tempted, let's be honest, but this person is out here living the dream.
All right, let's move on to what is for sure everyone's favorite part of the report. It is time for the Critter Chronicles. Because it just wouldn't be a week in Langlade County without our furry, feathered, and four-legged neighbors causing a little bit of chaos. And oh boy, this week did not disappoint.
Officers were basically running an urban zoo this week. We had bats making themselves at home in a house on Dorr Street, a sad call for an injured deer on State Road 47, and the usual parade of dogs on the run. A couple German shepherds out on State Road 64, a black lab mix having an adventure. Things did get a little serious near the fire department where a loose dog reportedly bit someone, but the real headliners of the week, a couple of escape artist cows.
And this just paints the perfect picture, doesn't it? A late-night call comes in from County Road C. Just imagine it. You're driving home, it's pitch black, and suddenly, there it is. A giant brown cow just lounging in the middle of the road like it owns the place. The owner was found, and the cows were wrangled, but wow, what a moment that must have been.
Okay, from the pasture to the pavement. Let's shift gears. It's time for roads, rules, and regrets. Let's talk about what was going on with traffic this week, from friendly warnings to some not-so-friendly citations.
So what happened if you saw those flashing lights in your rearview mirror? Well, it really depended. Speedin' got someone a written warning, a broken taillight, just a friendly verbal reminder. But if you were caught operating after revocation or you failed to yield over at Neva and Century, well, that ended in a referral or a full-blown citation. And my personal favorite stop of the week, a verbal warning for unnecessary acceleration on Edison Street. I love that phrasing.
And while we're on the topic of road rules, here's your friendly neighborhood public service announcement. An officer had to stop someone just cruising down Delaglise Street in a golf cart. So just a reminder for everyone, as much fun as it sounds, let's keep the golf carts on the green, not on the asphalt.
And it wasn't all just warnings and odd vehicles. Things got a little messy out there. In total, there were 5 separate vehicle accidents reported this week. We're talking about fender benders over at Asperis and even a multi-car situation near Fleet Farm. It's definitely a good reminder to slow down and stay alert.
All right, now we get to the really, really good stuff. The stories that are so wonderfully weird, so specific that they belong in the Only in Antigo file. I'm telling you, you just can't make this stuff up. Let's start with the saga I'm calling the Spud Cellar of Superior Street. An officer actually had to approach someone and inform them that, yes, even for selling potatoes, you need a permit from the city. You have to love it. We are a community of laws, even when it comes to root vegetables. And then you have to feel for this person. Over at Lakeside Pharmacy, a driver reported that their trailer came apart and then collided with the truck that was towing it. How is that even possible? It's like your own equipment turning against you. That's a special kind of bad day right there.
Meanwhile, over on Dorr Street, we had a would-be heist. Someone called to report an attempt to drill into their storage unit. The key word there is attempt. It seems our local criminal masterminds might need a little more practice. A for effort, F for execution, I guess.
And for a final bit of neighborly drama, we're back on Dorr Street, where a resident called because someone was just staring at her from the neighbor's property. Just Staring. Officers had to go have a little chat and relay the message, hey, could you maybe not do that? Simple, direct, and just the right amount of creepy. Okay, as the sun sets, the tone of the calls sometimes changes. So let's dim the lights a bit and get into the incidents that kept officers busy for the After Dark log.
This one is a pretty serious cautionary tale. It started with a truck crashing into a telephone pole over on Claremont Street. When officers arrived to investigate, it ended with the driver being taken into custody for a first offense OWI. It's a stark reminder of the very real, very serious consequences.
The night logs were pretty busy otherwise, too. We had a loud argument between two intoxicated men in a yard on 6th Avenue, a really scary-sounding rollover on Braun Lane where the truck landed on its roof, and a fireworks complaint out on Langlade Road. And to lighten the mood a little, that suspicious SUV running for an hour in the Family Dollar lot, turns out the driver was just on a really, really long phone call. Honestly, relatable.
So, after we've sifted through all the reports, the funny, the furry, and the frankly serious, what have we learned? What's the big takeaway from this week in our little town?
I think it boils down to this. 1, lock your car, because you just might lock your keys inside it. 2, make sure your cow fence is secure, because nobody wants a bovine traffic jam. And 3, and this is the important one, if you're going to sell potatoes, for goodness sakes, get your permit. And that is a wrap on this week's blotter. It was a week of minor mishaps, major animal adventures, and a few things you just couldn't make up. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What in the world is going to happen next week? Until then, stay safe out there.